We have 7 kitties coming at ya. They're confused about the blanket. They don't know what to do. Alright, are you guys still able to hear? Alright. Who wants a treat? Huh? They're very funny. They're so used to their kibble that they don't even know what the treats are, huh? Alright, so we're going to take this time to talk to you guys about the kitties and what's going on with them, because a lot of you have noticed over the last couple of days that the kitties weren't feeling well. So here's what's going on. We just got an update from the vet. There's a couple of things. Most of the kitties are feeling fine, and as you can see, they're running around and acting like they feel fine. A couple of them, let me see, so I don't know if you guys can see Kitty's eye and how it's kind of goopy and swollen and red. And there's a couple things going on here. First of all, as is common in the shelters, kitties have got a little upper respiratory infection, but they're being medicated for that and coming through just fine. But the other thing that's going on that's also pretty common in cats is that they have been exposed to, and a couple of them are showing active symptoms of, and I'm going to get him closer so you can see his eye, of herpes. And herpes in kittens is kind of like cold sores, which is another type of herpes virus in people. Almost all cats get exposed to it at some point in their life, and they get an initial infection if they catch it, which is what these guys have got. And it results in some of that swelling and redness and goopiness around the eyes, and also some symptoms that are kind of like upper respiratory. And it usually clears itself within 10 to 14 days, and then about 80% of the cats that are initially infected remain as carriers, and about 20% clear the virus on their own. And if they remain as carriers, they may never have symptoms again, or they may, when they get stressed, have another outbreak. And the outbreaks are usually just eye symptoms. So all these guys have been exposed, and so anybody who adopts them just needs to be aware of that. It will clear up with some medication in a couple of weeks if they ever show symptoms. And right now only 2 of them are really showing the symptoms, but they've all been exposed. But if you have another cat at home and you want to adopt one of these guys, you just need to be aware. It's probably not a big deal because your cat at home in all likelihood has already been exposed, but if you adopt one of these guys and you have another cat at home, you probably would want to keep them separated until the kitten was completely healed, just to minimize the risk of transmitting it to your existing cat. And because these guys have been a little peaked, the shelter vet has decided to not spay and neuter them before they go home on Sunday. Their spay and neuter is going to be what's called deferred. In the state of California, the law says that shelters and rescue have to ensure that the animals they adopt out get spayed and neutered. And normally that happens before they will release them, but in special circumstances they can defer it, and that's what they're going to do with these guys. So they'll be able to go home with their adopters on the 8th, but the adopters will have to make a deposit and bring the cats back once they're completely healthy for their spay and neuter surgery. we've definitely got a little kitty palooza in here. Dopey, come out and play. Come on, buddy. Come on. So Dopey, who is normally the star of the show, is being shy and hiding behind the playpen. There's Dopey. So we're really glad that all of you guys out there from all over the world decided to join us and watch Kitty Cam. It's been fantastic. We thank you. We've had watchers from all parts of the world and all parts of the U.S., which is really amazing. And do you see what's on my foot here? We're hoping that this is a continuous feature. We're aiming to have a continual rotation of shelter animals on the camera. And the idea is to use their cuteness to help get the message out about what's going on in shelters. And that is that there are so many wonderful, wonderful animals at the shelter that don't have homes. And there are lots of things that you all can do to help. The first thing that you can do to help is make sure that your own pet is spayed or neutered, because most people end up having a litter of puppies or kittens accidentally. You know, they only meant their pet to be a companion, and they just didn't get around to getting the animal fixed. And accidentally had a litter, and when that happens, either you find them homes or you drop them off at the shelter. But even if you find them homes, that means that there's kittens and puppies in the shelter that could have gone to one of those homes that don't. These guys are hilarious. So that's the first thing you can do, is make sure that your own pets are spayed and neutered. And if you're a little short on cash, most communities have low-cost spay-neuter programs that can assist you. So go to your local shelter or go out on the internet and ask around, because in most communities there are low-cost and subsidized options if you need a little bit of help. The second thing that you can do is just be sure to adopt your next pet and encourage all your friends and family to adopt your next pet. I think a lot of people don't realize what wonderful animals are available at the shelter. People think that shelter animals are somehow damaged or sick or have emotional problems, and that's really not the case. Just like these guys are just your normal, happy-go-lucky, playful kittens, most animals at the shelter ended up at the shelter not because there was anything wrong with the animal, but because of some problem their human had. Maybe they had to move and they couldn't find pet-friendly housing. Maybe they lost a job. You know, maybe they couldn't pay for veterinary care. So that's another really important thing that you can help us with, is to spread the word to please adopt. Adopt your next pet. And then finally, you know, if you aren't in a position to have a pet of your own, you can always go down to your shelter and volunteer or donate. I know times are tough for a lot of people now, but most shelters would love to have your help in terms of time and energy, so you can go down and volunteer. And I wanted to talk particularly for just a minute about kitten season. What happens during kitten season is that a lot of feral cats have litters, and then for whatever reason the litter gets separated from mom. Oh, do you want that? And so the litter ends up coming to the shelter orphaned. And if the litter comes to the shelter before they're old enough to be eating solid food, the kittens are actually super fragile and they need to be bottle fed every few hours. And unfortunately, most shelters just don't have enough resources and people to be bottle feeding hundreds and hundreds of kittens, because in kitten season they come in droves every couple of hours. And so they can really use bottle baby foster parents, oh my goodness, because that way they can help more animals. They basically send a litter of kittens, but this also happens with puppies, home with a foster parent who's willing to care for them and nurse them and get them to the point where they're old enough and healthy enough to come back to the shelter and be adopted. So that's also a way that you can contribute and help kittens in particular. What is it about my foot, huh? What is it about my foot? Alright. So we're going to let these guys play for a few more minutes, and I'm going to check the time. Oh, somebody's purring. Let's see if we can take it to the camera so we can let everybody see the purr. Can you guys hear purring? Yeah, these guys are all just the sweetest little purr balls. Did you hear the little mew?